Gurubhyo Namaha. Today we are going to see one of the FA4 lesson in science for class 6. Where does this air come from? Yes, it is from atmosphere. What is atmosphere? Atmosphere is nothing but the huge blanket of air which is above the Earth's surface, about 800 kilometers above the surface of Earth. And then it has several layers in it, namely troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere and exosphere. The first layer we call it as troposphere. It is about 16 kilometers from the surface of Earth. This layer only is the first layer of atmosphere, and then in this layer only we all live in, and then the movement of wind takes place only in this layer. And then the weather which we experience in our place is also the responsible of this layer. And then we all heard about the layer called ozone layer, which protects us from an ultraviolet rays. So that ozone layer is present in the layer called stratosphere, which is next to the troposphere. So actually when the air, the layer of air, the availability of air becomes very much less when we grow higher up. Do you know the reason why? Because this layer of air, atmosphere is the layer of air is being held up by the force called gravitational force of the earth. Since the gravitational force of the earth decreases when we go higher up, so we cannot hold up the air, so we cannot, the availability of air also becomes very much lesser when we grow higher up. That is why the mountain climbers, those who are climbing up in the mountain, they will carry the oxygen cylinders with them. Okay. Now let us move on to the next topic, composition of air. Up to 18th century, people thought that air was only one substance, but later on experiment proved that it consists of, it has several components in it. Let me see what are the composition of air. Air consists of several gases. To find out what are the gases present in it, let us start with a simple activity. Have you ever, please take a cool drink bottle out of the refrigerator and keep it aside for a few minutes. After a few minutes, what will you notice? Can you see any fine, I think you can see few droplets of water very close to the water bottle. Where does this water come from? Actually, air consists of water vapor. This water vapor, when touches this cold object, it condenses and forms tiny droplets of water. That is why we are able to see droplets of water near to the cold water bottle. So which proves that air consists of a gas called water vapor. But the level of water vapor, the amount of water vapor, it differs from place to place. So the first composition of air is water vapor. Now let us see what is the next one present in the air. Have you ever seen a beam of light entering into your room in the morning? We can see some of the dust particles being floating in the air. Yes, air consists of some of the dust particles also, and then it is being suspended in the air. That is why we are not supposed to breathe through mouth, because when we are not supposed to breathe through mouth, but when we breathe, it is advised to breathe always through the nose. Why? Because when we breathe through the nose, the hair and the mucus in the nose will prevent these kind of dust particles, prevent the dust particles entering into the lungs. So the next composition of air is your dust particles. Okay. After to the, let us see now what are the other components of air. For finding out this, let us do a simple experiment, simple activity. First, take a trough and then fix a candle in the center of the trough, and then fill the trough with water, fill half of the trough with water. Now take a gas jar and then invert the gas jar over the candle. First take a trough and then fix the candle in the middle and then fill the trough with half of the trough with water and then take a gas jar and invert the gas jar over the candle. And then now divide the gas jar into 5 equal parts above the surface of the water in the trough. After dividing the jar into 5 equal parts, remove the gas jar. After removing the gas jar, light the candle. Now cover the gas jar over the lighted candle. What will you observe? You can notice the lighted candle the flame of the candle will get extinguished after a few minutes, and then you could see the level of water rises up to 1/5 of the portion of the air which was already present in the gas jar. These two things we can notice after a few minutes. So the level of water will be up to 1/5. And then the lighted candle stopped its burning. Why this water level got raised up? Can you say the reason for this? Yes, nothing but you all know that oxygen is a good supporter for burning. As long as the oxygen was present in this glass jar, the fire used up that oxygen, and then once if the oxygen got used up, the fire gets extinguished. Take a fresh lime water in a dish and then keep that lime water open for few hours. After few hours, you will notice a layer of white crust will be formed on the surface of the lime water. This is because the presence of carbon dioxide. Since air consists of carbon dioxide, this lime water turns to milky white. So this simple activity proves that air consists of the next gas called carbon dioxide. Okay. And then even though air has water vapor, dust particles and carbon dioxide, air consists of the main two gases called nitrogen and oxygen. Oxygen is present about 21% and the nitrogen is present in the air is about 78%. Nitrogen, which makes up the major portion of the air, which is essential for the plants to prepare the proteins. And then oxygen is about 21% present in air. So on the whole, let us now recollect all the composition of air. Air consists of major portion of the air consists of nitrogen is about 78% and oxygen is about 21%, and then other gases like water vapor, dust particles, carbon dioxide is about 1%. Okay. Now next we are going to now see here the amount of oxygen present in air is 21%. But this is an essential gas which is used by all kind of living things in this world. Even animals, plants and human beings use up this oxygen. It is very, very important for the living organisms to respire, and with the help of oxygen they will produce energy from the food they eat. Okay. Even though this oxygen is being used up by all the living organisms in this world, it is never get used up. Have you ever wondered about that? Yes, the level of oxygen is never gets used up. How? Why? Because of plants. Do you all know that plants undergo photosynthesis? What do you mean by photosynthesis? Photosynthesis is nothing but it's a process which plants undergo with the help of it will with the help of sunlight and the chlorophyll present in that plant, it will take in carbon dioxide from the air. With the help of all these elements like sunlight, water and chlorophyll, it will prepare starch, and during this photosynthesis it will release the gas called oxygen, which is very essential for all kind of living organisms in this world. That is why the level of oxygen is in the atmosphere is always maintained because of this plants and this photosynthesis. Okay. Now, let us end up this session with some of the common uses of air. Air supports life, and then without air no life is possible on planet Earth. And then it also guides the movement of aircrafts in this atmosphere, and then it also helps the birds to fly. And then air plays a vital role in the dispersal of seeds. And finally, water cycle. Due to water cycle only we get rain. So air plays a very vital role in the process of water cycle. Thank you.